How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, we got some rumors to take a look at. Starting things off, we have this post right here from Central Leaks about apparently a data mined version of Pokemon Home confirming that Mega JYNX, yes, a mega form of JYNX, was once planned but scrapped. So, basically, let's take a look at this post and a bunch of other stuff. Starting off, this is Central Leaks. They are a kind of a source of leaks. They're not really leakers themselves, but they kind of share leaks from other people and stuff like that. And they basically posted this saying a pre-release beta of Pokemon Home, which of course Pokemon Home is the software used to transfer and store your Pokemon, has now confirmed that Mega JYNX, yes, Mega JYNX, was once planned but scrapped. We knew there was leftover data for another JYNX form for years, but only now has it been confirmed it was a Mega all along. The video shows a comparison between the cries of JYNX and a Mega JYNX. Now, here's the thing though, right? So if you play this, again, I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to hear this, but I don't know if you guys can actually hear that audio. But yeah. Either way, this was posted by Matty, or Matt, who, of course, does data mining. This is an actual person that does a lot of data mining. So basically, what's the deal here? Well, more or less, it confirms that there are chances a JYNX Mega Evolution was planned to exist, but that's not all. It also confirms something that fans have long been, like, you know, kind of either against or for, which is that they definitely do scrap a lot of designs that may already be far underway. So, like, the fact that they scrapped this, even though they had a whole cry effect for it, who knows? Maybe there even is a 3D model or artwork out there somewhere, an official one, that just hasn't surfaced, or maybe will never surface, but it pretty much confirms that sometimes these things do kind of happen in the background. And here's actually a massive post with a bunch of other stuff here. This is a huge leak, by the way, in terms of actual data mining, but here's what it basically said. With many thanks to El Chico Eevee. By the way, shout out to Eevee, shout out to Chico, by the way. Chico is fucking amazing. But Chico basically assisted with this, saying, let's take a look closely at some of the pre-release content for Pokemon Home. This is a full thread. Now, this content dates back to as early as October 28th, 2019, a few weeks prior to the release of Sword and Shield, and under 4 months prior to Home 1.0.0. You guys can see a full list here of all those, like, documents and details that have been found. Starting things off, included in these assets are early dummy images. So dummy images are just temporary images that are used to kind of, you know, as placeholders in the meantime. For Pokemon up to Zeraora, some of these display very early revisions of Pokemon renders, and most placeholders use Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon Pokedex sprites. Some are very broken. Official artwork is also included, likely as a reference for posing. So right here, we have the official artwork, which was for the posing, and then he had a dummy version over here, which was used for, you know, all the Gen 7 Pokemon, right? So, you know, Rowlet, you know, Dartrix, Decidueye, etc. And then here we have, like, you know, the kind of initial versions of the Home models, well, right here, which I guess were posed to look just like the actual official artwork, because it's sick, pretty sick, man. But yeah. Moving on, though, he says that in the cry data, we see two notable files. Based on naming conventions, these are potentially scrapped concepts for a second form of Celesteal and a Mega JYNX. Finally, after all these years, I can confirm it was Mega JYNX all along. So yes, they have confirmation now that that was the case. Interestingly, it's all through Unity 3D, but either way, yeah. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty crazy. And this is like where he made a whole post about it. You know, the fact that mysteriously within the app's sound directory, data exists for a cry similar to JYNX. In the video, the first cry played is JYNX's, the second one is unknown. And this is something he discovered back in 2020, by the way. Wow! I remember actually covering this back then. This is so long ago now. It's pretty nuts. But there you go. It pretty much confirms that that was the case, that that was at least somewhat planned. Moving on. If you've ever played Pokemon Go with sound on, crazy I know, you'll know that some Kanto and Johto Pokemon have really bad cries. Very noticeably different from what we hear in X and Y and onwards. Turns out this cry data in its original quality is in the pre-release version of Home. So they actually have the proper one available in Pokemon Home pre-release version. They just didn't use it, which is really bizarre, okay? To put it bluntly, it is very bizarre why they didn't do that. Super strange, but I'm not going to question it too much. It also says, included in the pre-release assets are some developer screenshots showcasing the early Pokemon summary screen UI. The app used to display only renders, not fully animated 3D models. Game icons were direct rips from the 3DS labels and had item sprites. Translations are welcome. And you guys can see right here, if you speak Japanese, if you can give any translations for this, I guess it will be very, very appreciated. Pretty sure there's a few people available that can do that. But here we go. So basically, what else is there? You got this image right here. Again, nothing too crazy. It's just an early version. Moving on, he has also this. There are two profile wallpapers that went unused, featuring the original title screen from Red and Green, as well as some Kalos Pokemon and Pikachu, of course, which is, very random, but hey, fair enough. They just didn't use these. In a build pushed on December 18, 2019, assets for a Galarian Slowpoke were added. This was a few weeks prior to its official reveal. They already were adding it in there, which, wow, okay. While its render was left as a placeholder Pikachu, its final release model was included. Okay, moving on. And there's a massive thread here, guys. There's so much to go through. So let's continue to the next thing, okay? The earliest available Pokemon renders do not include every species, only a decent handful. Of these, Frillish is present with an interesting note. There are 3? Okay. Now, this is likely due to having a gender difference with unique Pokedex entries and not a hint at a scrapped form. Okay, fair enough. Then again, you know, why is this one like slightly more? Okay, why is this one like a bit more pinkish, like redder almost? It's more like vibrant, or like almost like the contrast has been moved up a lot. Anyway, there are also several unused profile stickers included in the pre-release builds featuring Kanto's first starter Pokemon. Note that the Ilka did a horrible job on these, and they're all inconsistent sizes. So here's a screenshot in Windows as opposed to a proper evenly slotted montage. So here you go. Yes, so these stickers were supposed to exist. Also, included in the December 18, 2019 build is picture of a golden raspberry, presumably ripped directly from Go, with the name dummy_nuts_Zuri. Nice. And then finishing it off, finally, here's a look at some of the early Gigantamax Pokemon renders. You'll see that all of these have generic lighting with no red glow, as well as a distinct lack of red clouds circling their heads. Side note, because of how bad the lighting is, it looks like Machamp has no neck. You guys can see right here how they look. It is a bit, you know, a bit scuffed in certain areas, to say the least, and of course the shiny forms are also included. But yeah, that pretty much summarizes that. Finishing it off, it says, sadly, because all of this content is server-side, we're unable to look at the internals since we have no code for an installable application, an APK. At a glance, this was everything interesting I could find throughout the pre-release builds. If I find anything more, I will post it. And that's pretty much where it ends in regards to this post. If, of course, if there is something new, we will mention it. We'll bring it up. We'll bring it up, okay? We'll bring it up. Interestingly, though, also back on January 29th, new sprites were pushed to Pokemon Go, including Captain Pikachu. So that one was pretty much confirmed, which is weird because I totally had kind of glossed over this post at the time. Also, I guess Reverb Room is coming as well, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, there's going to be a crossover between Horizons and Pokemon Go. Interesting. Not Detect Pikachu, I guess Captain Pikachu. With the hat is going to be happening. So that's pretty neat, but that pretty much summarizes that. Let's move on to something different. Now, this is going to be about Nintendo itself. And this is going to start again with none else than Central Leaks, who posted 2 posts here. It's 2 specific posts. One is from Nintendo Brazil, and the other one is from Nintendo, Universo Nintendo, which I think both are about the same. The information here is relatively the same, I guess. And if we go over to the actual post, I think it is the same post here that's been made. And it's from this website that we've read previously. But basically, it says here, rumors via Nintendo Brazil and Nintendo Universo. Apparently, Switch 2 is going to have backwards compatibility with OG Switch titles. Now, we've heard this quite a few times, and it also makes sense. Remember, every Nintendo console that is brand new does tend to have compatibility with the last console in some way or shape or form. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, basically, if I remember correctly, if we go all the way back in time to the Game Boy, right? The original Game Boy games could be played on the Game Boy Color. The Game Boy Color games could be played on the Game Boy Advanced. The Game Boy Advanced games could be played on the first version of the Nintendo DS, and the first version Nintendo DS games could be played on the first version of the 3DS, but they remove compatibility as they go. Initially, they keep the compatibility there, but they remove it with every iteration, right? So the original Nintendo DS had compatibility with, you know, the games from Game Boy. It had a Game Boy slot. Actually, let me show you. Right here, this is an original DS. This doesn't belong to me. It's my fiance's. You can see right here is the DS game slot. This is where you put in your DS games. Right here is where you put in your Game Boy Advance games. See, you can just shove that in right there. And I think you can. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think you can even put in an old school Game Boy game. I think. I mean, here we go. Let's try. Let's see. Oh, maybe it doesn't work. Nope, doesn't work. See, so it's usually compatible one generation back. Right? In this case, Game Boy Advanced does work. So see, I can put in the Game Boy Advance game, and if I launch it, it should work. Of course, I'm not going to do that right now, not really the timing for it, but basically it's just to prove a point. You can actually do that. So we're going to put this bad boy back over here and continue with the video. So that's one of the first things they mention is compatibility, backwards compatibility, which again, not that crazy for Pokemon, not that crazy for Nintendo necessarily. It is pretty standard for them. Moving on, they say that both for physical and digital games, they will have backwards compatibility. That is a massive one. Now, this is something I mentioned in a previous video that I was really worried about. Please tell me I can bring my digital, games over, because the 3DS already died, okay? The 3DS died. If you didn't get all your shit downloaded onto your 3DS, you are done for, okay? You will not have your hands on that ever again. It is gone. It's lost to time, okay? It's just gone. And I hope that that's not going to be the case with the Switch as well. At least this way we can, if I can use my same account and still play Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, if I wanted to play them now, of course, from my regular Switch here on, there you go. I got, Violet on. Can I play this on the new Switch, on the new console, on the Switch 2, the Switch Pro, whatever you want to call it, the next generation of the Switch? Please tell me that's going to be the possibility. According to this information, apparently it will. Moving on, the devs can enhance their Switch 1 games to take advantage of the added processing power. That would be sick. Reiterates a direct is coming next week, and hardware reveal is next month. So again, pretty much saying that same thing they already said before, which is that there is going to be a Nintendo Direct next week, but that Nintendo Direct, it's not going to be, I say next week, but it's basically this coming week now, starting tomorrow from when I'm recording this video. But again, that Direct that's happening this coming week, if it happens, right? If it happens, that Direct shouldn't actually have any information about the Switch, console itself. It should only be about third-party games, I think, as far as I'm aware. And finishing it off, mentions that a Pokemon presentation is coming this month. Well, that's pretty obvious. We have a Pokemon Day coming up anyway, so that's we already know that. That's not really any surprise or that strange. But yeah, here it also says, not mentioned. Somebody asked what kind of Direct next week. He said it's not mentioned, but rumors are pointing towards a partner showcase, which is not the most fun one. It's just a lot of indie games that, don't bring as much hype. It's a lot of farming simulators, which gets a little bit tedious at points. Moving on, though, here's the actual post. And this was, again, it's posted by Necro Felipe. And this guy, Felipe here, he has actually had multiple posts in the past, and I think he's kind of a 50-50 guy. Sometimes he has been correct, and sometimes he's been a bit incorrect. So, again, take it all with a grain of salt. And even they put a rumor here that apparently Nintendo's next hardware will be physical and digital backwards compatibility with Switch games. One of the topic's greatest doubt among current Nintendo consumers and even enthusiasts is curiosity about their next hardware in the question of the compatibility with current Nintendo Switch games on the new console. But yeah, so basically it just goes through the same information we just read. And they also say here, rumors, remember the information described above is a result of speculation. Do not take and share them as fact. But again, we'll have to wait and see. It is a bit weird because you can't really trust this 100%. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. So that pretty much summarizes that. This is pretty much the same post here from Felipe. And yeah, that pretty much comes to the conclusion of that, guys. Now let's move over to something non-related to that. Let's move over to something actually pretty crazy. There is information currently that Dana or DNA, right? So DNA or Dana, whatever you want to call them, is the company that makes Pokemon Masters EX. Now, if you don't know what Pokemon Masters EX is, it's basically a Pokemon mobile game where you collect it's a gacha game, okay? You collect a bunch of different Pokemon trainers and then you battled with them and stuff like that. Apparently, the company that works on that game, Dana or DNA, posted a huge deficit with an operating loss of 27.6 billion yen in the third quarter. The impairment of games and goodwill was 27.6 billion yen. The showroom stock method was also devalued. The president and president returned part of their compensation. On February 7th, Dana announced a consolidated financial results for the cumulative third quarter of the fiscal year, which ended on March 2024, April 2023 to December 2023, and reported revenue of 104.149 million yen, 2.7 increase compared to the same period last year. Operating loss, though, was 27.626 million yen. So, again, I saw this posted, and people were wondering if because they're in such a huge deficit, will this mean kind of a potential downturn or downfall of something like Pokemon Masters? Because, Pokemon Masters EX, if we look up Pokemon Masters EX profits, I don't actually know how much, it actually has made, but apparently according to this article from January, it's still doing fine. Pokemon Masters EX has solidified itself as Pokemon Company's second biggest mobile game behind Pokemon Go, surpassing $300 million in lifetime revenue, which is decent. But again, it's, you know, realistically compared to everything else, it's not that massive. I think Pokemon Go makes 100 million a month. You know what I mean? Like 100 million a month is what like Pokemon Go makes. So apparently, according to this, though, Masters EX has solidified itself as the Pokemon Company's second biggest one, surpassing 300 million. While often overshadowed by Niantic's AR behemoth Pokemon Go, Masters casts quite the shadow in its own right over the remainder of the Pokemon Company's catalog, having generated more consumer spending alone than the combined might of Cafe Remix, Pokemon Quest, and even Tencent's Pokemon Unite. So apparently it is making more money than those, which would also mean that, I guess, them having an overall loss, like Dana, the company, like, it just shouldn't be the end. Like, you know, I don't know. It shouldn't be the end of that game. It shouldn't really, like, mean the end of that game. Looking into the company itself, Dana, or whatever, again, you would call them, DNA, they're a bit of a weird company because, of course, Pokemon Masters isn't the only thing they have, as far as I'm aware. Like, they have other stuff, too. They own other, like, products as well. Like, they even own streaming services. And they're even part of medical care. What? Okay, apparently they have healthcare services too. But in terms of like their company and like in terms of like video games and stuff they do, because you can read it here. It's a Japanese provider of a mobile portal and e-commerce website. So it's not just that they do video game stuff. It's like literally not just the only thing they do. They have other stuff in their portfolio as well. As for like games though, they do a lot of mobile stuff. So it could be that any downturn in their money making may not come from Pokemon Masters doing poorly. It may come from other stuff, right? Like if we go down here, Pokemon Masters, development cooperation with Pokemon Company, that's one of the things. But he also did Mario Kart Tour, which I don't know how that's doing, and Dual Masters Plays, which I guess is a Dual Masters, like a separate, it's like basically like Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's different. It's its own thing. But yeah, again, they have a lot of games, like Fire Emblem Heroes, I think, is falling off a little bit now. So they were the ones behind a lot of different games. So I don't think this necessarily means the end of Pokemon Masters. I don't think so. I think it's still relatively profitable. And I don't think Pokemon Masters is in any sort of trouble. But I just thought it'd be fun to mention that little article there, because there was a lot of, there's a little bit of buzz about that and what's going to happen to Pokemon Masters. Because at the end of the day, we have seen other games shut down. Like, for example, Pokemon Duel was a game that actually shut down like a few years back. I actually played this one. This is a weird mobile game. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was fun. I actually enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But it shut down. It's gone. It's no longer available. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of these mobile games eventually. They will shut down. I'm always just kind of, you know, waiting for the day that Pokemon Go shuts down, because that's the big one, right? Like Pokemon Go is like the massive one. That's kind of like, you know, if that one shuts down, oh boy, you know, I'm very curious what's going to happen with a lot of people. I think there's going to be a lot of angry people. I think there's going to be a lot of even possible lawsuits of people being like just fuming if it ever shuts down. But let's be real, Pokemon Go probably never will shut down, at least not for another 15 years. I think it's got easily a decade more in the arsenal, right? Like they're still making a lot of money, even though Niantic is in a bit of a weird spot. But nonetheless, that's it for the official news stuff, as well as small Nintendo official stuff and rumors like that. Let's move on to Pokemon rumors from our best place, 4chan. Yes, baby, we're back on 4chan reading Pokemon rumors. Starting things off this time around, though, we have a post from this fella who says, information for the 27th of February. Ooh, let's see what he has to say. So, he says the following information. Pokemon Horizons movie, Pokemon The Fallen King. Actually sounds kind of like a cool name. Focused around the Ruinous Quartet leader, has a golden crown, bird-shaped, dark psychic, and it's called Niao Wang, which Niao Wang contains the Paldean King's resentful spirit inside of it. Movie release window is worldwide at summer of 2024. Doesn't sound too crazy. Doesn't sound too, you know, doesn't sound too far-fetched, at least not to me. I don't know. Maybe this name here, maybe this name means something that I don't understand. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Moving on, though. The Pokemon World Championship 2024 info. Oh, that sounds so realistic. This is something they always do during Pokemon Presents. They always take a minute to talk about Pokemon World Tournament and, like, you know, the championships and all that sort of stuff. And I know VGC people get very excited about that, but I'm here for the games, man. I'm here for the games. I'm here for that shit, dude. I'm here for the Vidya games, you know? I'm here for the Vidya games, bros. I'm here for the Vidya games, okay? That's what I'm here for. So yeah, I don't know. In terms of that, that sounds realistic. Moving on, he says Pokemon TCG Classic 2. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I have already seen a previous rumor that said exactly this sentence, TCG Classic 2, with exactly the same info. Meganium EX, Typhlosion EX, and Feraligatr EX Dex white theme. Again, already seen this before, okay? TCG Classic 2, already seen that posted in a different rumor, which is why I get a bit more sus on this one. Moving on, Pokemon Concierge. So that's a show on Netflix. I watched a little bit, not really my cup of tea. Apparently it's getting a second season, more info on March 2024. Moving on, Miraidon and Phalanx in Pokemon Unite. Koraidon is also teased. Sounds about right, I guess. Again, Miraidon and Phalanx have already been confirmed from actual like leaks, like actual data mines have confirmed those two being in the game. Like that's not a strange one. It actually is real. Moving on, Ogerpon and Pecharunt are going to be in Pokemon Cafe Remix. Again, also heard that information. Continuing, Poipole, Naganadel, Stakataka, and Blacephalon in Pokemon Go. Okay, well, I guess it's about time they show up. Mew and Celebi in Pokemon Sleep. Ooh, okay, that's... I can see that being real. I know Pokemon Sleep is new, and there's a few people that are actively playing it. I'm not really playing it. I think it's kind of stupid. Again, I know some people are really into it. I know some people really like Pokemon Sleep, but I'm gonna be real, like... I don't know. Even looking it up, I don't really see how many people actually play this. Like, how many active channels there are that actually make content on it. It's barely anyone. It's a very strange game, okay? It's a very odd game. And I don't personally see a point in playing it myself. Like, I don't really enjoy that kind of stuff. But moving on, though, he said the Pokemon Masters EX, Rika and Clodsire, and Geta and Glimora. Ooh, those would actually be pretty cool. Continuing, Pokemon free update for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, this is the shit that I would think would be sick to do, okay? An update would be awesome. He says here, free update for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. 5 events like Mochi Mayhem. No need to purchase, I guess, the Teal Mask or, you know, I guess, the Treasure of Area Zero DLC. He says, 1, Falling Stars, Deoxys, team up with Clavel, April 12th, 2024. Ooh! Oh, bro, this would be so fun, man, if they did 5 different events. Oh, this... Bro, please, Game Freak, please do this. Please. This is the kind of shit that I would enjoy, man. These events would be, oh, I'm sorry. This is getting me frustrated because this would be so fun, man. The whole year, we'd have something to look forward to until the release of the next game. Every few months, every 2 months, 1 to 2 months, having a little cool event would be so fun. It would keep people invested in this bloody franchise and invested in these games. It would be so much fun, dude. I loved Mochi Mayhem. I don't care what anybody says. The Pecharunt event was sick. I loved it. I know some people hate it, like, oh, bro, it wasn't that good, bro. It was fun. It was nice. It was extra content, okay? Please tell me we could get something like this. It would be so fun. First one is Falling Stars Deoxys. Team up with Clavel, April 12th, 2024, apparently. Number 2, Under Pressure, Volcanion Dendra, May 2024, okay. Number 3, Worldwide Fades, Hoopa, Salvatore, June 2024. I guess the teachers that would be involved with you, right, in the story. Number 4, Diamond Coronation, Diancie. Ooh, Miriam, July 2024. Paldean Memories, Niao Wang. So that would be like, that would be that, you know, golden one, I guess. Ryfort, August 2024. And it makes sense it would be Ryfort because she's the one who tells you about the Ruinous Quartets to begin with. Bro, this would be, I know, dude, I don't want to have any hope. I don't want to have hope. This sounds so sick. I don't want to have hope. I don't want to have, like, I don't want to believe. As much as I want to believe, I also don't want to believe because I feel like I'm going to just get disappointed in the end. Oh, and I don't want to be disappointed, man. Moving on, it says Pokeball Pattern Vivillon 7-star raid, electric type raid for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet after the presents. That sounds pretty neat. There's an event Mass Outbreak, Chikorita Cyndaquil Totodile with boosted Kindly Mark odds, okay, for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet after the presents. That also sounds relatively realistic because, again, those 3 are Gen 2 Pokemon. Moving on, there's a new game. Pokemon Untold Crystal gets announced. It is a Pokemon Crystal 2D HD-like reimagination. Some cross-gen evolutions and regional forms appear in the trailer. Annihilate, Galarian Meowth, Mr. Rhyme. So I'm assuming that every Gen 1 to Gen 2 cross-gen evolution and regional form will be available. Not confirmed, though. No new Pokemon shown. No post-Gen 2 unrelated Pokemon shown. Get some features from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver as the Pokeathlon, but not all of them, as only the Battle Tower is present and not the Battle Frontier. The story seems different. Release date in fall 2024. Wait, what? Fall 2024? Every early purchase bonus event regarding Meltan and Melmetal available to pre-order after the presents. Okay. That is I don't know, Chief. That's a bit, that's a bit odd. I don't know, man. That's a bit of a weird one. Huh. Really? That's a weird. I'm gonna be real. This rumor has put me into I've been confused, okay? It's used confused right on me. I am confused. I don't know what to think about this one. I don't know what to feel about this one. I don't know what to think or feel or react. This is like the first rumor where I genuinely want it to be real. Because this sounds sick. Like, this sounds actually really cool. Like, everything here. Everything. Like, all this stuff we would get to do with, like, you know, the different events. Oh, dude, this would be so fun. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But I don't know. I'll leave it at that, guys. Let's move on to the next rumor. Now, this is a second post. This was a different person posting, just saying Pokemon info from Anonymous, and then 2024 Pokemon Day image on the side here. But yeah, let's read what they actually have to say about this one, because yeah, it's a pretty long rumor. Let's put it like that. Starting things off is Pokemon Legacy Black and Heritage White. Actually, sounds kind of interesting. Continuing, remake sequel of Black and White and Black and White, Black 2 and White 2. The game takes place in an open-world region of Unova, 10 years after the events of Black and White. You have just moved to this region and are about to start your studies at Blueberry School in order to join the Blueberry Academy. The school is located in the city of Castalia, and to get there, you will receive from Bianca, assistant of Professor Juniper, a starter Pokemon between Tepig, Snivy, and Oshawott. Okay, nothing strange there. Unlike the original versions, you can only participate in a gym challenge after registering at the school, and the gyms can be challenged in any order as the game has a level scale. There were more changes to the gyms compared to the original games. Now they are Cillian Grass, Chili Fire, Crest Water, Alessa Electric, Playground, Roxy Poison, Skyla Flying, Bryson Ice, Drayden Dragon, and then Marlin Water. While in the league, the challengers are now Sharon, Marshall, Caitlin, and Iris. Lenora, Burge, Chantal, Grimsley, and Alder are teachers at the Blueberry School, and is now the new champion of the region. New characters: Lacey, Clay's daughter; Drayden's grandson; Crispin, Cillian and Chili and Cress's cousin; and Amaris, Lenora's niece, appear in this game with some frequency, with Drayton being kind of a rival. A new character called Harmony will also be extremely important and will appear a lot during the journey. She has some relationship with N, and the members of Team Plasma are regrouping around this character who acts as a new messiah. Her story revolves around a song and Meloetta, capable of balancing the forces of the legendary Tau Trio, okay? You will learn from Emmett that the region's legendary Pokemon have been captured a few years ago. But after the mysterious disappearance of the trainers he captured, the Pokemon was fed from its Pokeball, and it's again free in the region. Emmett is searching for his brother, who disappeared in the same way as the other trainer. Although Team Plasma was defeated in the previous game, in this game we are shown that it did not cease to exist, but began to act in a more friendly way, helping people and Pokemon in difficult situations and fighting for balance between natural and modern world. However, as the story progresses, we discovered that behind the scenes, in the facade, the team's plans have not changed, and Jetsis continues his plans hidden from everyone. Okay. Interesting. The gameplay consists of defeating the gyms, the league, and the champion as in all games, but in the game we have 2 more missions. Find the 7 Pokemon Guardians of the Song and defeat 5 priests of Team Plasma. You discovered Harmony was taken from her time by a machine created by Colress at the request of Jetsis to bring the original dragon to the present. And together with Anne, you will have to stop the machine. They started bringing Pokemon Paradoxes to Unova. And in the end, Emmett and Harmony use the machine one last time to go in search of Ingo. Pocket Monsters Rainbow Journey. This is a different game. Apparently takes place in Johto and Kanto of the past, where the protagonist and his friends travel through the region following in the footsteps of a mysterious hero from the past. The game follows PLA standards in terms of capture. However, this is a region where people already live in harmony with Pokemon for a long time. We will have ancestors of several characters, just like in PLA, and although the protagonist is not a time traveler, we will have some visitors who are. All right, that sounds pretty cool. Again, this one is a bit different because there was so much lore stuff that was kind of like dumped into the top section, and then they just kind of finish it off with, hey guys, Pokemon Rainbow Journey. Ooh, you know, like it's a bit random, but it sounds pretty cool. Now, again, it's a rumor. It's a rumor, okay? It's a rumor, and I'm going to leave it at that. It's just a rumor. Keep that in mind. It's not real, but it sounds interesting. And I'm going to give this one a solid 6 out of 10 just for like how interesting it is. Again, this one I give it a solid 8 out of 10. I know it's probably fake. which is why it's not 10 out of 10. But I like the stuff that this one says. It's kind of interesting and cool. Sure, it doesn't say anything about black and white remakes, but I just like this idea of a Pokemon Untold Crystal. This one, I give it a 6 out of 10. Not because I don't like it. I actually like this kind of more in terms of what it would be for new games. It actually sounds really sick. But in terms of believability, 6 out of 10. But again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope these things are all real. Guys, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out and bye-bye. And also, guys, if you want to, feel free to subscribe. It would help me out a lot. If you don't want to, you don't need to do it. But if you do, it will help out a lot. Thank you, guys. Peace.